Hello, diverse peace pirates! Let's sail into the wild, island-hopping chaos of diverse peace on Roblox, where one god-tier sword can turn a rookie grind into a legendary conquest or leave you flailing in a hilarious sea of flops. Picture Aizen teleporting through bosses with coffin-sized AoE blasts, while Katana swings uselessly like a dud stick in a storm. I'm your shard-hoarding, re-roll-addicted captain who's wrecked more ships than a newbie in Starter Island, laughed at Saber's backfire windups, and still hunts CD's mythic range like buried treasure. We're ranking every sword, ability, fruit, style, race, trait, and equipment from S-tier overlords to D-tier driftwood, loaded with goofy gacha fails, slick build combos, and pro tips to crush PvP bounties, PvE raids, and the latest patch meta. Grab your compass, spin those fruits, and let's chart a course to One Piece glory. Because in diverse peace, only the strongest survive the grand line. In diverse peace, your build is everything. Swords scale with sword stat for melee power. Abilities and fruits use power for flashy moves. Combat styles handle close fights. Races give passives like Saiyan's damage boost. Traits add multipliers. Equipment ties it all together. S-tier like Aizen and Sid dominate with stuns, AoE, and mobility. D-tier like Katana barely keeps you afloat. Farm shards from quests, bosses like Ryomen Sukuna, mining Solarite, fishing angelfish, or gacha. Elemental matchups flip fights. Water beats fire, fire beats air, air beats water. Dark and light counter each other. Newbie or pro, this tier list is your map. Let's start with D tier and climb to S tier supremacy. Alright, let's kick things off with D tier. Items are the basic tools that get you off Starter Island. They work for the first quest, but flop hard against real bosses. Players use them to learn mechanics, but they laugh at how fast they become useless. These are your crash course in re-rolling and building better. Every swing feels like training wheels, and the moment you hit a real challenge, they snap. Perfect for testing combos without wasting resources, but don't get attached. They're gone the second you can afford anything better. Now, let's talk about Katana. Players grab Katana as the starting sword. It slices weak mobs in Sandora for dual Katana quests. Slow attacks and low damage make it useless against stronger enemies. During a newbie quest on Starter Island, it chopped a few foes but bounced off tougher mobs. Use it to finish early islands, pair with power stat for fruits, and re-roll as soon as you can. It's a starter that teaches you to move on fast. The animation is clean, but the impact is non-existent. Great for screenshots, terrible for progress. Next up, B tier. Items give solid help for mid-island grinding. They clear quests and farm shards well, but lack the power for late bosses or PvP. Players keep them while building toward meta, but they know the limits. These are your bridge to stronger builds. They shine in controlled environments like Sky Islands or early raids, but the moment the enemy scales up, they start to crack. Still, they're reliable enough to carry you through the middle game without breaking the bank on rerolls. Now, let's talk about Saber. Players get Saber as an early-mid PvE sword from Shank's NPC. Good AoE clears mobs, but windups are clunky in PvP. Players use it for bosses like Sid and Sukuna, upgrading reach to hit more. During a Shanks quest on the highest Sky Iceland, it swung wide but missed the mark, costing shards. Pair with Light Fruit for elemental advantage and replace when A tier arrives. It's a reliable step up from starters. The windup gives it a dramatic flair, but in fast-paced fights, that delay is a death sentence. Moving on to A tier, items carry players through tougher islands with balanced DPS and utility. They shine in PvP bounties and PvE farming, but need smart pairs to compete with S tier. Players love them for grinding shards, but they plan rerolls. These are your core for most content. They're the workhorses of the mid to late game. Consistent, powerful, and versatile enough to handle most situations. You won't dominate, but you won't fall behind either. Now, let's talk about Ace. Players buy Ace as a Game Pass sword for strong PvE farming. It burns mobs with flames and outshines Saber for boss fights. During a Turbo Granny quest, it burned strong but got kited, forcing a retry. Upgrade flames for more burn, and pair with Gojo for infinity support to stay safe. It's a grinding machine that gets the job done. The fire effects are satisfying, and the damage ticks add up fast in prolonged fights. Next up, let's talk about Stark. Players farm Stark from Coyote Stark with Hogyoku and Solarite. X clears PvE packs, Seawolves poke from range, V finishes after stuns. During a Karakura duel, Wolves harassed but lacked finish, dragging the fight. Upgrade Wolves for harass and pair with Rudo Sherbrak for heals. It's an all-rounder that fits many teams. The Wolves give constant pressure, making it hard for enemies to ignore, even if the burst isn't always there. Finally, S tier, items dominate mid to late game with high power and utility. They shred bosses and win PvP with ease, forming the heart of strong builds. Players chase them for endgame, but they require good play. These are your ticket to glory. They're the reason top players stay on top. Unmatched scaling, insane synergy, and the ability to carry entire teams through the hardest content. Mastery is key, but the payoff is God tier. Now, let's talk about Nightblade. Players buy Nightblade as the Game Pass PvE king. X Tri-Shot maximizes DPS on bosses like Gojo and Turbo Granny, clearing ads fast. During a mythic farm, it Tri-Shot the boss but exposed to ads, requiring backup. Upgrade Tri-Shot for more hits, and pair with City for range synergy. It's a beast that nukes everything. The Tri-Shot animation is smooth, and the damage output feels unfair in the best way. Next up, let's talk about Aizen. Players farm Sosuke Aizen in Huecomundo with Hogyoku, Angelfish, Solarite. Massive AoE stuns and F counter rule PvP. C spreads damage, Z pokes safe, X gives mobility, cutscene spikes output. During a boss rush, F countered perfectly, but mastery needed. Upgrade stuns for control and pair with Pseudo Sherbrak for extra power. It's the DPS king. The cutscene move is a game changer, turning defense into offense in an instant. Finally, for S tier, let's talk about Sid. Players pull Sid from rate up gacha on Wano. Huge AoE range edges PvE over Aizen. Fast abilities melt packs and bosses like Gojo. During a Wano grind, AoE cleared packs, but counterplay was key. Upgrade range for clears, and pair with Light Fruit for elemental wins. It's the destroyer that covers the map. The range feels infinite, and the speed of abilities makes crowd control a joke. Best build runs Rudo Sherbrak for heals and pulls, Gojo Fruit for infinity, Aizen Sword for DPS and stuns, Saiyan Race for damage, Shadow Clone Trait for multipliers, Sid Cloak Equipment for synergy, Rudo sets up, Aizen finishes, Gojo protects. Farm Sukuna Fingers for Ryomen Sukuna Dark Fruit. Meteor events drop fragments every 15 minutes. Check Trello for banners. Reroll races with chest for Saiyan 15% chance. Enchant damage on swords, range on fruits. Grind bosses 12 times for max shards. Use meteor events to stock Solarite. Pair elemental fruits with opposite weaknesses for bonus damage. Save Hogyoku for Aizen farms only. The islands fall silent. Diverse Peace fans celebrate. Saga shines brighter than Aizen's AoE under the skylights. CAD's range triumphs. Katana's starter flops. Tier list conquers quests, bosses, bounties. S tier rules meta. D tier keeps laughs alive. Newbie or pro, build ready. Pair Nightblade with Ace for PvE fire. Aizen with Stark for PvP control. Farm shards with grit. Check Trello for drops. Legend etches in Roblox anime history. Share epic clears or funniest rerolls below. Frenzy fuels. Smash like with Aizen's stun. Subscribe with City's vibe. Ring bell for Roblox chaos. Conquer now.